Hello guys, welcome to a new video of the Fischer series. Today we're looking at round number 20 of the Portorož Interzonal held in 1958. This is a really important tournament. The top 6 will advance to the candidates, from which the winner will play the reigning world champion Michal Botvinnik. So there's a lot on the line. Fischer is on 11 out of 19. Close behind him are David Bronstein and Ludak Beckman with 10.5 and 10. So he really needs to get some points on the board out of those last 2 rounds to secure the top 6 spot. He's playing against Rodolfo Tan Cardoso, who's having a worse tournament so far, 5.5 out of 19. Let's just see how the game goes. Fischer starts with e4. After e4 comes c6. Cardoso goes for the Caro-Kann, and Fischer goes for knight c3. After d5, Fischer really liked this double knight setup, because after takes, you can see we have 2 knights developed against just a pawn attacking the center. So here Cardoso pins the knight on f3 to the queen, but we can simply play h3. And here taking, which Cardoso played in the game, is not something really nice, because we're just giving away a bishop pair for nothing. You moved your bishop twice, in which we can take back with the queen, and now we have 2 pieces developed, a pawn developed just against a pawn. So I would say white's already better here. Cardoso now plays knight to d7, and here comes knight to g5. So Fischer goes for this mate in 1, which I would assume a player of Cardoso's caliber sees, so he plays knight g to f6. But now we have queen to b3. And with queen to b3, we're attacking this pawn and the f7 pawn again. So again, threatening mate in 1. So we have to do something about it. Cardoso plays e6. And now Fischer takes the pawn. It's a bit greedy actually, because okay, we're a pawn up here, it's undefended, but your queen is a bit misplaced here. It needs some time to come back. So here Cardoso actually plays the best move, knight to d5. Now your knight is under attack. You have to move your knight again, and we just developed our knight. So here comes knight to e4. But after knight to e4, Cardoso finds the best move again, which is knight to b4. It's defended by the bishop, you cannot take it, and we're threatening this annoying fork. So there's only one move here, which is king to d1, but after playing king to d1, okay, we're defending the pawn, but we just gave away the castling rights. We cannot castle anymore. Black can just develop his bishop, castle, and get a lot of activity and attack you. Here Cardoso plays the best move again, which is f5, challenging the knight. And the knight, it doesn't really have much good squares left. For example, if you play knight g3, we can bring out the bishop to c5. And now this pawn is defended. We can play rook to b8. This pawn is defended, and you're simply running out of squares, and your queen can get trapped. So Fischer actually doesn't bring back the knight. He plays c3. With c3, he says, okay, if you take my knight, I will take your knight. But here, Cardoso finds the best move again to keep the advantage, rook to b8. Well, how is that the best move? Are we not just giving away another pawn? Because after queen takes, we can simply come back, right? Well, okay, we are 2 pawns up. But here, the best move is knight to d5, bringing back the knight. Now your knight is under attack, you have to move your knight. For example, knight to g3. But now we would have knight to c5. Your queen cannot come back anymore, it's blocked by the knight. And you can see all those squares are actually occupied. So it's really hard for the white queen to get out. For example, only a3 is the only move here, but after a3, simply rook to a8 and you're trapped. So this would have been a very good variant for Cardoso. But after queen takes a7, Cardoso actually took the knight. And after c takes, bishop takes, Cardoso is a pawn down, but he lost his advantage. You can see this pawn structure is shattered. Okay, we can castle, and we have a bit more activity, but the queen can come back now, which Fischer plays immediately. Queen to d4. After queen to d4, we have castles, and now bishop to c4, attacking this pawn. You can defend the pawn multiple ways, rook to e8, queen to e7. Here Cardoso plays knight to c5, which is not a good move. Well, how is that not a good move? We're just defending the pawn, right? But the problem here is that Fischer is up a pawn, and his pawn chain looks more healthy, as you can see. And here, giving this queen exchange is actually better for white. So Fischer takes the queen immediately. And after rook takes, we have rook to f1, simply defending the pawn. Rook to d4, attacking your bishop, simply b3. And now bishop takes d2. And okay, we can take back with the bishop, because you cannot take back, the king is defending it. But simply rook to d8. And you can see a double rooks here. We will take back the bishop and we have the open file to work with. So better here is king to e3, e2, which Fischer plays. And after bishop takes, rook takes, you can see after rook to d8, we can bring the rook to d1. And now you don't really have the open file to work with. So Cardoso plays king to f8. And Fischer says, okay, material-wise we're equal here, but just look at my pawn structure and look at yours. It's really shattered. So it's actually better for me to just get away with all the pieces off the board and just go and play the endgame. So Fischer takes the rook. And after rook takes, he offers another rook, which, well, Cardoso cannot really come back because then we can simply take the rook, so he has to take. Cardoso takes the rook. And after king takes, we can see this position. It's equal in material, but it's just way better for Fischer. And let's see how he converts this. First comes king to e7. After king to e7, we have king to d2, king to d6, so the kings are coming to the center of the board, and king to c3. Now knight to d7, and after knight to d7, we have king to d4, taking opposition. So we control those squares. Now knight to f6, defending the pawn. Now a5. And this pawn will be really annoying because it's a passed pawn. There's no pawn defending it. So we have to either defend it with the knight or with the king. After a4 comes c5 check, king to e3, and now g5. So Cardoso tries to maybe get a counter attack here on the king side. So let's see what happens. Bishop to e2, king to c6, bishop to c4. So just a waiting move, just seeing, okay, you moved your king, now I'm attacking this pawn again. Okay, e5. And now comes a5. And this pawn will be really annoying. After a5 comes h6. And now king to d2. h5, king to e3, and h4. So Fischer is actually just waiting. There's no need to hurry. We have a better pawn structure. Those pawns are very weak. The knight has to defend this pawn, or it has to come back to defend this pawn. It's just way better for Fischer. Now comes bishop to e2, king to b7, wanting to defend this pawn. And now bishop to c4 again. So Fischer just waiting. Maybe he was in time trouble, or he was just calculating to see how he can convert this. Because we see really repeating moves from Fischer here. Now king to c6, king to e2, king to b7, king to d2, king to c6, king to e3. So just a bit waiting. King to b7, king to d2. So we're actually repeating moves here. We have king to c7, and now Fischer finally plays another move, g4, which is the best move in the position. g3 is not really good here, because then we would have a g4 here ourselves, and, well, taking is not good. Well, then we're just queening with black. And taking like this is even worse, so g3 is not good here. But okay, Fischer plays g4. And now we can see this side of the board is really closed down. There's no play here, so we will continue on this side of the board at the A and B files. So after g4, Cardoso obviously doesn't take, because then we can just create another passed pawn, which is really annoying. So after g4, Cardoso plays king to c6. Now comes king to c3, knight to e8, bringing it back, b4, knight to d6, knight to d6, bishop to f1. You don't want to exchange the bishop for the knight, because in open positions the bishop is better. Now we have c takes, king takes, knight to c8, bishop to g2, attacking this pawn, king to d5, a6, knight to a7, king to a5, king to c5, bishop takes, knight to b5. After knight to b5, we have bishop to g2 back, knight to a7, king to a4, knight to b5 again, and well, king to b3, king to b5, and this pawn is gonna fall. But the problem here for Cardoso is that we're a pawn up, and there was just a bait for the king to leave this side of the board, the E, G, and H pawns, because after king to c4, king takes a6, king to d5, it's impossible to defend those pawns. So we have king to b6, and simply king takes e5, king to c7, king to f6, and knight to c3, king to g5, knight to d1, and f4, and after just developing and having this pawn chain, attacking and making another queen, there's no hope here for Cardoso, so he just resigned the game. It was a really nice win, a nice way to see how, even though material-wise we're equal, having a better pawn structure and the bishop against the knight can really have an advantage. So after this game, Fischer drew his last game. He actually managed to get into the top 6. Because Cardoso actually beat Bronstein, which made Bronstein not come into the top 6. So Cardoso actually helped Fischer in the last round. After this video, we'll go to the next tournament, which is the Candidates. And this is a really prestigious and beautiful tournament in which there will be a lot of beautiful games. Thank you for watching. If you watched so far, like and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.